Good afternoon. Well, I'm a member of the Wagga Radio Club and I'm on their committee, and we go back to a time when Dennis Couch had a bit of a vision for this old building. This was built in 1927. It's the old original Griffith Post Office, and it was moved here brick by brick and rebuilt, which is an amazing feat in itself. And then he and Doug McWilliams got their heads together, and Doug had a great idea to build this into a museum. So between Dennis and Doug and a few of the other interested radio people, we saw that there was a challenge to create a communications museum, which included phones, radio, Morse code back in the early days, all of the forms of radio teletype as well, all of the forms of communication we wanted to see displayed here. And we're hoping this will be open very shortly, the first week of July at this stage, and there's a lot more equipment we want to get in here for that. But if you walk in and you look around, you can see we've created a phone situation here with going back to the oldest one there is 1897, and a display board here which was built by Peter Dillard, who worked for Telstra in the early days, as did Dennis Couch, and he's collected quite a few of these. A few of these phones were in the park collection, and the kids are fascinated by these because they've never seen anything like it. And we move around a little bit. We go over the back here where we've got an old manual exchange which originally was at Wagga, and that's a feature of the park. Everyone's intrigued by that. Then we get into our radio stuff. We have radio equipment. We've got some of the old 27 meg CBs, the UHF CBs, into the amateur radio bands where we've got quite a bit of equipment. This is mostly measuring equipment, and you can see something like that beautiful old Ivometer there, which was British made, lovely leather case. They either had a beautiful wooden case or a leather case, and some of those go back to the 50s, and that's what a phone looks like when it's pulled apart. We've got a few of the later hand phones. Measuring equipment, and we move down into here with some of the amateur radio, the early amateur radio transceivers, like the FT101. That was a standard bit of gear in the 60s, 70s. There's a home brewed transmitter that was made by an amateur before pre-war, and it was crystal locked on one frequency. Some of the old CB radios on 27 megs were there. A lot of interest in all those because most of the farmers had a CB in the farm. Then we have a collection, an outstanding collection, there's a few there at the moment, of the old transistor radios. And it was interesting what they were bought for originally in today's money. Now this little pink one here was called a Kelly 8, and it was £44 10 shillings, which in equivalent money today is $1,400.
Holy cow!
There's a lot of money people spend on transistor radios. The old AWA picnic one that used to slide in the dash of the car. The Philips one there, that's a beautiful old traditional receiver. So we have quite a good collection. We've got a few out being built at the moment, being restored. They'll all be back in on the 1st of July. Beautiful bit of gear here. This was out of an aeroplane. It was donated to us here at the park, and the weight of it is astounding. And that used to go inside an aircraft. It took 3 of us to lift it, and
that would have been from a bomber.
Have to be from a bomber. It was donated by a local radio engineer. A beautiful bit of gear, and it still actually fires up. We could actually get it going and transmit with it, but we haven't got to that stage yet. other old, beautiful old bit of gear there. That was a multi-beam radio in the early days. Old measuring equipment, oscilloscope. This was the old NRMA radios back in the early days. It weighs a tonne. It used to go in the car somewhere. Probably had to take one of the seats out to fit it in.
All valve.
Yeah, all valve, 100% valve operation. And that was out at Hilton. That was I thought it was a taxi, but it was NRMA apparently. Teleprinters, when you used to get telegrams at weddings and that sort of thing, they were all printed on a teleprinter like this. The old Model 7 Creed was one of the most popular ones, and they were adapted later for amateur radio use, and we used to send what we call RTTY, written messages. The Gogowie telephone exchange, that's a great piece of gear, and it's still in original condition. It was in working condition right up until 1985, and now of course it's all automatic. And then we have a couple of amateur radio transmitters there representing some of the other types of communication. So that's basically the story. We're nearly there, we're nearly ready to open to the public, and I've got to reiterate the work that Dennis Couch and Doug McWilliam have put into this project. It's outstanding. The building itself has been totally modified, new gyprock put right through, it's air conditioned, so everything in here will be kept in a very stable, anti-humid situation. So a lot of this gear should last for another 100 years, and we've got stuff here that is 100 years old. So that's about the story, where we're at this stage.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And we'll see how we go with this.
Righto, mate.